thing I've got to say at the start of the show. Chesco, get in there, Chesco. Absolutely. Chesco, absolute legend. I mean, what a finish that was. Look, there you go. Look, what the hell? Hang on a sec. Jesus Christ. Right, get rid of that. Okay. All right. Right. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you hear me? I'm gonna start that again. So look, the first thing I have got to say, let's do this. The first thing I've got to say is Chesco. More than anything else tonight, and look, I'm probably going to have a different reaction to what people think tonight. Look, Chesco. I mean, what? Look, we have said on here. Look, and I'm going to say this. You know, Scott said it. I've said it. Many have said it on this channel that Chesco is going to be class. What a finish! What an absolute finish. So look, first thing to say about getting this amazing community. Sorry that I didn't do a watch along tonight. I had to do some work. So there wasn't a lot that I could really do about that this evening. So look, we are here now. First thing to say is get into this amazing community. This is the best community on this platform. It's really nice to be back. Really nice to be back as it was. So look, get into the community. We don't mind the banter on this channel. You know, be respectful to the community, be respectful to yourselves, be respectful to me. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out. And look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. You know, look, I really do read comments, so get in there with the comments tonight. So let's see who's in the chat. I'll get through it, and then we'll go through the match, and then we'll go through all those bits and pieces. Scott says, what a joke of a game that was. That game's pissing me off bad, says Scott. We never showed up at all. Slow ball United passing the ball back, and Ali's lack of urgency. I've seen the chicken nugget roll faster than United. And look, this is what we've got. This is Light Switch FC. This is why on this channel I've been consistent. I get called, I'm moaning. I get told I'm moaning all of the time because I don't buy into this. I don't buy into this player FC shit. I never have. Look, all I'm going to say tonight is just keep calm. Like, there is no put. Look, this was a performance. We've seen this performance all season long. You know, look, we need to keep calm. Look, we are the problem is tonight. The problem is tonight is people like us on here and people like me who keep saying, take each game as it comes, because we know what this team is. And I'm not saying it tonight. I'm not happy with that tonight. I wanted 5 wins on the trot. And look, I am not good. Look, we can discuss the game, but this is why I am consistent. This is why this channel is consistent, because I refuse to buy into this Michael Carrick ball. I refuse to buy into these players that to buy into a league. Top 4, top 3 is still there. People tonight just need to calm down. Look, we can be annoyed tonight at that game. That performance was absolutely awful. Again, we struggle against a low block. We struggle where there's no space. Bruno Fernandes struggles when there is no space. And look, you know, this talk of Ballon d'Or and this talk of, look, these games happen. This is a very good West Ham side. I think they've won 4 of the last 6. This was never going to be an easy game. And the problem is, this is why when people jump to conclusions and I get called being a boring, moaning fan, and all I am is just consistent. And this channel is consistent. Take each game as it comes. Look, that was a good point. Look, the game was crap. Did we deserve a point? Probably not. But you know, look, that is what you do when you want to get into a top 4 race. So look, as much as that was abjectly awful tonight, and we will go into it tonight, look, this is why tonight I'm not angry, because I'm consistent. We are consistent. I know what this team is. I've said this all season, up and down, and 4 games, 4 wins. Don't fool me. It's not about the Arsenals. It's not about the Cities. It is about the Fulhams. It is about the Spurs. It is about the West Hams. And this is what this team does. It starts off extremely well, and then the performances get worse and worse and worse. And look, what we saw tonight was the limitation of this team. What we saw tonight was Carrick. This is Carrick ball. This is why I keep saying we need a different sort of coach. We saw the limitations of the team as well tonight. Look, this is tonight. People are going to go mad. And look, this was awful. This wasn't great. This was not a performance that many people were expecting. This is something where this is why people with a level head and are consistent in their views. Look, I wonder how many channels tonight are now going to flip-flop. Are going to flip-flop from Bruno Fernandes being the best thing. Look, Bruno Fernandes has been a fantastic player. It wasn't his game tonight. Look, Bruno Fernandes wasn't good tonight, but he's been good for the last 4 games. Is he shit? No. He can still produce moments of stuff. Luke Shaw was dog shit tonight, and we would go in that. But look, it is a good point in the context of what we're trying to do. The problem tonight is people genuinely thought that we were in a title race. People thought tonight that before the match we're going to win 5 and then we're going to win the league. Look, this is why we need to take each game as it comes, and in the end, on balance of play, to walk out of that stadium tonight against West Ham, who've actually been playing extremely well. I thought that was a good point tonight. So look, I'm not happy with the performance, but I'm happy with a point, and a point is a point. I would take that. That point could be the difference between 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. So I'm happy with a point. Look, and this is an inconsistent league. This is a very, very inconsistent league as well. So look, tonight wasn't great, but look, it's not the end of the world tonight. It really isn't. Look, that was an abjectly disgusting performance. Player FC, we keep saying it. Light switch FC. This team is light switch FC, and this is what happens when you have a threadbare squad. We had, look, Xerxes could have scored. Look, thank God for Chesco. I mean, look, this game was calling out for a Chesco as well. So I'm so pleased for Chesco. Look, this wasn't about United fighting tonight. This wasn't about United plugging away, United heart, spirit. No. Tonight's draw is about one guy. His name is Chesco. So look, he needs to be applauded for that. Sky said, why was it so bad? We should be winning that match. Look, Sky, I disagree with you, Sky. I think, again, the problem for me with this fan base is that we win 4 games and we should be expecting to win every single game. Why? Like, people forget. People forget the other 13 games. People forget the other 10 games. This is still in these players. Look, doesn't mean to say that we're not going to go on to win the next match. We've not lost now for 5. That look, from where we are, from where we were. Look, I would take that all day. The problem is we win 4 games and the expectation shoots through the roof. And instead of taking each game as it comes, I would have bitten your hand off. If you had said to me, we would come through City, Arsenal, Fulham, Spurs, West Ham, and not lost and won 4 and drew 1, I would have bitten your hand off. So look, I'm actually quite happy tonight. Now look, and tonight for me is not about I told you so, because just because we've drawn a match doesn't mean to say that I'm right. I know what these players are. These players don't fool me. Look, I even said before the game, I am going to trust these players. I was wrong. You can't trust these players. These are, you cannot trust these particular players. But look, a point is a good point. So let's get through your chats. Give me your opinions tonight. Look, and those of you, look, I am going to say this tonight. Those of you who have said we're going to win the league, we're going to push a league, do you think realistically we're going to still win a league? That is all I'm saying before tonight is this. A lot of us on here are consistent. I'm consistent. I remain consistent. I just want to know, those of you who think that we can win a league and still win a league tonight, are you still of that opinion that you can win a league? Or is it one game makes you flop away from a league? It doesn't mean you're wrong for like having that opinion, but I just want to know tonight, those people before the match who were talking about winning the league, are you still convinced that we're going to win a league? Scott said Carrick for his tactics all wrong tonight. They just sat back with 11 men behind the ball. And Scott, I've been saying this. It's not Carrick doesn't have tactics. It is soak up pressure. Carrick's tactics are this: counter-attack FC. That's why he keeps playing the same game. Because whether or not, look, to be fair to Carrick, whether or not these are the way that he plans to play, I'm damn well sure Michael Carrick, if he could pick a different set of players and a different squad, would he pick these set of players? Probably not. So again, is Michael Carrick forced into playing these players? That is something that we've got to consider. So look, Carrick got it wrong tonight. But again, it's not Carrick's fault. Look, Carrick is here. Carrick is learning. And look, whether or not I think Carrick should get the job, again, consistently, many of us have been consistent. I keep saying, wait until the end of the season to give Carrick the job. It's all about time, people. It's all about time. So look, get in there with your opinions tonight. I want to know your opinions. Sky says, I'm happy the guy's not going to get his haircut. Me too. We dropped 2 points against the bottom three. What a joke. I thought by half-time Carrick may have changed the tactics, but nothing. But that was shocking. A shocking performance. Lucky to grab one back at the end. I hope we don't lose lots of games now until we finish outside of the top four. We'll still finish top four by a point. How can we beat Arsenal and City but almost lose to West Ham? Unpredictable, exactly. We can't play teams who sit back for 60-70% possession. Exactly. Nikaruchi, it's Nuno, as much as I hate the Weasel, his tactics always frustrate us. Yes, Bruno threw his dummy out and vanished for the second half again. And look, I'm not going to attack Bruno Fernandes, right? Because I keep saying this. And look, there is no point in me coming on here tonight, and as many of you have said before with Bruno Fernandes, I keep saying this about him. He is one of the most frustrating players on his day. Look, we've seen it all from Bruno Fernandes. Last game, other channels were calling him Ballon d'Or Bruno. Ballon d'Or Bruno. I mean, it is. We all know what Bruno Fernandes is. He is a frustrating. He's a magician. He has a tendency to switch off. Bruno Fernandes, I will say this and I will stand on this. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. It is as simple as that. Does it mean that he is not a good number 10? He's still one of the best number 10s in the league. But he's not been at his best this season. It is, look, I think Bruno Fernandes in the last two games has been fantastic. Tonight wasn't his night. But Bruno has been doing this all season. And look, when we needed a captain's performance tonight, we didn't get it from Bruno because he doesn't have it in his locker. It's Bruno Fernandes. Scott says Aaron Wan-Bissaka is better than Shaw and Dalot. don't break anything. Oh no, he cancelled his haircut. Oh, sorry, Carrick needs to take the blame. The team was wrong from the start, says Leo. Chesco to the rescue. Exactly, I do agree with you. That was a miracle strike from Chesco. Henderson, it's finally great to be here. Poor performance. Who turned their lights off? We're back, says Grace. I didn't show up, and Carrick started with the wrong team. And look, one of the thing I wanted to say. There are two things here, right? Michael Carrick doesn't have tactics. Look, I don't think Michael Carrick. There are two things at play, and I'm going to be balanced and I'm going to be fair. Michael Carrick, as much as he got the team wrong tonight, I don't blame him. Right? He's got limited players, like Eric Ten Hag before him, like Amorim. He has these players. These are the same players that were shit up until a City. Carrick has got them playing. Look, Carrick has picked the wrong team. I don't believe that Carrick is the right guy, and I will stick, and I have said that. But again, we don't know that, right? Today was one of those games. You know, Carrick got it wrong. Is it because Carrick doesn't have the players? And look, I will say this, right? I will say this tonight. Carrick got it wrong. But like I will defend the managers, it is these light switch players. It always has been. And tonight you got a brief glimpse into what these players were. You know, look, Carrick, I will say this. These are a mixture of players that should these players be together or not? They are an accumulation of a side. I keep saying this as well, by the way, is that the reason why these players and they've responded to Carrick is because they have decided to play. When these players don't feel like playing, or it's a difficult and hard game, and one of those games that's tough, they knew that they were going to be up for a fight today, they find it very, very difficult to get up for a game. And what you've seen in these last four games are not tactics. They're not Carrick tactics that are so good. Amorim is so shit. What it is Carrick, who's a bit like Ollie. He's very, very good at getting these players up. But these players have decided to play. And when these players do not want to play, what you see is what you got tonight. Tonight wasn't about a team that were hell-bent on winning. This wasn't a team that were hell-bent of putting balls into the boxes. They had no answer for that mid to low block. Towards the end, I don't know how West Ham didn't score again. I think poor finishing, poor decision making by West Ham, I think, cost them the 3 points tonight. I don't believe that we were ever in that game. And look, I thought the very start of that game was very, very Spurs-esque. It reminded me of Spurs. And again, I'm going to say this. When we're talking about form is really important, because as we saw Liverpool, we won. Sunderland, we won, and then we got worse and worse and worse and worse. What I'm hoping that Carrick does now is, if you look at City, fantastic. Arsenal, fantastic. Fulham, great. Fulham wasn't perfect. Spurs was a little bit worse. Spurs wasn't great. Spurs got a man sent off. But if you look at that half an hour, that wasn't great. Now, if you look at the result today, the performance level has dropped again. What I don't want to see, and what Carrick needs to do now, because we are talking about hearts and minds, because these players respond to like hearts and minds. That Carrick has this job. Carrick's job now is to raise these players up. I think if Carrick can raise these players up and get these players feeling good again, I think that we need to see that performance go up. But my fear is that we see that performance level drop, and we've got to go to the Toffees. So it's going to be an interesting one. But look, I'm going to go through your chats. Didn't show up today and Carrick started with the wrong team. Herbie says that was crap result. Carrick should have mixed it up a bit with his selections, as this bunch can't manage 2 games in 3 days. Agabus says, hi, the problem is having 2 games a week, says Leo. Sprite says, in all honesty, that was a fair result. I think West Ham did to us what we did to Arsenal, which was sit back and counter. West Ham had a lot to lose by not getting any points. It was a ball fest. Brad, I thought, mate, that we were lucky. I thought we were lucky to get. I don't think that was fair at all, Brad. Disagree, Brad. Disagree, buddy. I don't think that was fair at all. I think West Ham were the better team. I do. I had accepted a loss comes 95 minutes. We were not shown for the ball or communicating. JB, you have blocked some words. Won't let me type. JB, you have blocked. No, I haven't blocked any words, buddy. No, I've not blocked any words, mate. Nope, not me. Request invalid by any chance. It wasn't me, mate. JB may have a new. Nope. 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 I've got nothing on, mate. Nope. I've got zero. Also bot on tonight. No, why Casemiro's goal was offside. Casemiro's goal was offside. Basically because his kneecap was offside. It's happening everywhere too. Hi JB. Blue Game says, hey JB, horrible performance tonight. It was awful tonight, wasn't it? It was terrible. So annoying that we still can't break a low block. That was expected in all fairness. The game where cause and tactics matter, and we fell short in performance, but we scraped it because he didn't cut his tongue. He's offside. YouTube won't let me type out about Luke Shaw. It's nothing to do with me tonight. Why wasn't there a penalty for Ahmad? There was no penalty at all. Luke Shaw has gone through 7 coaches. We need to wake up as a fan base. Look, I criticise Luke Shaw all of the time. Look, Luke Shaw has played, I think, every game other than 2. Right? I think it's he defies medical science. Right? But Luke Shaw is not good. That goal that we conceded was because of Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is not good. Look, I know people like Luke Shaw. I've been saying this for so long. Luke Shaw needs to go, and I've been consistent when we win, when we lose, when we draw. You know, tonight is a really interesting one for me because a lot of us on here remain very, very consistent. All right, not because I feel smug or I want to be right, because what's the point in that? I just want to win. But sadly, we are not, for those people who want to win a league, right? People have been, and this isn't me, I'm just talking back to what I've been told on here, is that people want to win a league, right? You're not going to win a league with these players. No, Bruno Fernandes, I think he's a fantastic player. If you put better players around him, can Bruno be in a title-winning team? Possibly. But Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. We saw that tonight. Tonight, what we needed tonight was a leader. What we needed tonight was somebody to kick these players up the arse and drag us through. What we got tonight was a young man who people have gone to town on this channel. Many of you have been saying, give Chesco time. A lot of this fan base has been calling Sesko shit, saying that he's a waste of money. Chesco's got 5 in his last 6, right? The reason why we've drawn this match is not because Bruno Fernandes has inspired this side, not because of a Harry Maguire booming header, nothing to do with tactics, nothing to do with heart, nothing to do with fight. What we got tonight, which I fucking love more than anything else, right, is the fact that we've got another young player like a Dorgu, that people were calling him shit, right? We've got a young player who's come in to this club being called his shit. and he's come on today and he's fucking done that. I'm so pleased tonight for a Chesco. Tonight for me is a win, right? And I'll tell you for why. Tonight for me is a win because Chesco for me epitomises what I want. You've got a kid that comes in, he does that, right? And just an absolute joy. What a goal. What a goal. And I'm so fucking pleased tonight for people like me, for people like you who have supported a Chesco who said it's going to take time. Who said it's going to take time. Look, is Chesco perfect? No. I'm not going to jump on here tonight as equally as I'll say about Bruno Fernandes and Luke Shaw not having the best of years. Chesco missed an opportunity in the Spurs game. Is Chesco perfect? No. But Chesco is the future. And I love that tonight. I love that tonight. Loads of people overhyping the roaming of our front four was never sustainable. Been calling for Ahmad on the left since Dorgu got injured. Ref was against United. Are you watching T20 World Cup? No. I hate the referee. Cricket is whack. Well, yeah, it is. Paul James Owen says, exactly, Christ, when did we last win 5 games in a row? And, look, we haven't, look, and again, the problem, the biggest problem for me tonight with fans will be so many people have wound you up, right? So many content creators have wound you up, talking about winning the league, talking about Bruno being the best player in the entire world. People have been happy. I don't blame the fan base. I don't blame people for being happy. I do not, right? But let's be realistic here, right? With the form that we had, tonight's game was shit, right? But we've won 4 and drawn 1. I think it's fucking fantastic. Look, as if you take the 5 games, right? I genuinely look. It's now what we do in the next 5 games, right? But look, as a period and a block of games, I would have been, look, whatever happens, I never would have thought that we would have been in touch and distance of 3rd. Right? This is why I keep saying we have to take each game as it comes. But look, we are up there. Look, these things happen. Chelsea tonight drew. If Liverpool win, then guess what? It's Liverpool's week. Each week is basically like a cup final. Can this team deal with the pressure? Can this team deal with the pressure of these games? Each week now it could be Liverpool lost to a City. If Liverpool win, Liverpool close that gap, right? If they don't and we draw, we've got away with one again. Look, that point is so crucial tonight. So look, now I know it's disappointing, but look, we haven't lost in 5. I think it's good. I do. Ahmed needs to be benched. I'm sorry, I don't get the hype around him. He's brilliant on his day, but was horrible today. Give some credit to the West Ham. Give some credit to West Ham for mate. Look, Moe. I am not. Look, West Ham tonight. Moe were brilliant. West Ham tonight were fantastic. Look, let's talk about West Ham, right? And Moe's right. Moe is absolutely right. Okay, United weren't great. West Ham were brilliant. West Ham tonight were absolutely fantastic. And and Moe's right. Can't take away that performance from West Ham tonight. They were brilliant. They were set up extremely well. They looked confident. They looked comfortable. From where West Ham were to where they are tonight, what a performance. So look, as much as and as much as we weren't great, a lot of that was down to West Ham as well. Look, West Ham tonight were brilliant. And again, this is the problem with expectation. We've won 4 games, and we now believe that we're back, and that's the problem with this fan base. We think that we're back. We think that we're back. We were never back. This is an inconsistent league. We've had a run of 4 games. But West Ham tonight are fighting for survival. They were brilliant, and we were shit. Rob says, even like you said, JB, that in the end was a very good point. Keeps us in top 4, but that poor guy won't get his haircut. Fucking good. But again, it just makes me even more angry tonight that guy is now going to live on this for the next 5 games. Like, that prick is going to live on the misery of this fan base for the next fucking 5 games. Somebody should just hold that fucker down and cut his hair off, because he is living off of this fan base's fucking misery. And it is just, look, I know it's a bit of fun, but when somebody's, look, I get called all sorts of stuff, right? I will not profit from the misery of this club. This channel makes no fucking money at all, right? I do this. This is something that I love, right? I've got a full-time job, well-paid job. I do this because it's just something I'm passionate about. You've got some kid, some guy who's looking to make himself some money, profiting from basically one of the worst patches. And I'm not talking about the last 4 games. The last 18 months or so have been awful. And he's profiting from that. So, good. I'm glad. Surprised Tottenham are not protesting against the board. Anderson or Tonali says, Leo, I would like Anderson. Never believed we had a shot at the title. 3rd is still possible, but 4th has to be the target. Exactly. Why can't 4th be the title? Look, we got a point. We can talk about the performance now because it was shite, right? But a point is a point, mate. Ahmad in Bumo, Shaw, Dallo, Fernandez, Cunha were terrible tonight. Think Chesco should have started. We weren't physical enough. Dylan, I do agree. Frank needs to go. I think Frank will go. I do. Majrawi and Chesco over in Boomer and Dallo. Spurs get relegated, says Scott. Just get top 4. Just get 4. Bloody hell. Just get top 4 some more signings and the summer and we go again. Exactly. We can't type out what we need to say. Mate, I promise you, mate, there is I will check, mate, but there is no chatbot on, mate. I promise you, there is no chatbot, mate. I'm not. There is no. That's not how the chatbot works. That's not like how it works, mate. I missed Dorgu. I'm gonna put a bet on them getting relegated. Surely they'll set Frank soon. I can't type stuff either. Some words just don't work. I promise you. If Nightbot was on, it would come up in the chat. I promise you, it is absolutely. I've got 0 on. There is nothing on here that stops you from. So I don't know. What's more funny, Stratford or Tottenham going to Sky Bet? I miss Rashford for these sorts of matches. I'm not going to lie. Interesting opinion. Tonight was a small example of having a real seasoned manager. Not much of a plan. Was certainly exposed. Plus, he's now he's going to compete with against the Paul. Exactly, mate. Exactly, Paul. Mate, that is it. Paul, you couldn't have summed it up better, right? You could not have summed it up better. What we're going to see now, does Carrick have the tactics? Does he have the tactics to go on and play the seasoned guys, right? You know, he had issues, right? And also what we could potentially see as well now is where signings, not signing players, will hurt us. Nobody's having a look. The problem, JB, how does captain behave as he does? Saps the whole team morale. And I've been saying this all season, and again, not because I'm amazing, not because I want to be right. Bruno Fernandes, on his day, is a fantastic player. There is no doubt. Fantastic player. I notice how the Bruno Fernandes fans tonight are all quiet. You only hear the Bruno Fernandes fans when he has a good day. The Bruno Fernandes fans, where are you tonight? Look, Bruno Fernandes is still a fantastic player. You know, nobody can discount the fact that Bruno Fernandes is a great player. But look, he's getting older. His days are not numbered, but his days, you know, he is not as consistent, but he is not a captain. Bruno Fernandes is not a captain. We need somebody who is the epitome of a captain. We need somebody who can drag a game by the scruff of the neck. And I'm talking about a Roy. You know, we had a team full of captains. Paul Scholes, Rooney, Cristiano, you know, Keane, Carrick, Rio. We didn't just have one captain. We don't have that. We are very, very emotionally. I think we're very, very weak. And I think we are led by one of the worst captains in our history. Paul says good night for Liverpool. Blame Holland instead, says Leo. Amorim would have won this game, says Scott. It was just so poor tonight. He'll learn, says Mark. Who are we playing next? I think it's Everton next. So Jody says, very lucky draw. Yes, it was. It was a very, very lucky draw tonight. Hijack, Big Dad says, in other news, Everton, we don't deserve Europe or happiness. No, I mean, look, that's not true. Come on. You know, look, all fans do. Look, Everton are one of those clubs where I don't think they know what it is they're trying to do. Look, Everton are a fantastic club. They've got good fans. You know, they've got the new stadium in place as well. You know, Scammering would have won 4 out of 4, says Mark. Wouldn't have, sorry. We do need to bring in more through the academy. We are hamstrung by debt, so it's necessary evil to bring players in. I also wanted to talk about something I saw today, which is fucking ludicrous as well, about Diamonde, because I think that is a load of bullshit. Liverpool probably get 4th now, I reckon. Mohammed says Chesco and Xerxes should have come on much earlier and put balls into the box. I agree with you, Mohammed. I agree with you. Look, that game called for big lads. Look, the only way to beat a mid-low block is to put crosses into the fucking box. You can't pass through them. You've got to put balls into the box, which we never did. And because against Spurs they were open, we could have pot shots. Bruno Fernandes was in his pomp because he had space and he could take pot shots and he could put those balls that he loves. But because he had no space tonight, he couldn't do it because he's not that sort of player. He can't play in those pockets. Bruno needs time. And what we should have done tonight, as you said there, and I think you were spot on, we should have put the bigger guys up into the box and put crosses into the box, because guess what? We put a cross into the box. Casemiro was offside, but Casemiro scored. We put a cross into the box, and what happened? Chesco scored. So, you know, those are the things where I don't understand where Carrick and that team, what did they think that they could do? Pass against a low block. It doesn't work. So we should have been putting balls into the box, and guess what? The 2 times we put balls into the goddamn box, Casemiro was offside by a blister, and Chesco scored a goal. So You know. Greetings, says Senzo. 7 minute extra time for nothing. Haircut, no, come on. Chesco, let's go. I do love Chesco. The best Mafia League. Haircut off then, yes. Why we can't even say. Mate, it is, I promise you, it is nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me, buddy. I've got no. If Nightbot was on, Nightbot would tell you that it's on. The 4 wins in a row is totally irrelevant for the club if we can't win against relegation prone team. Dallo should not start ahead of Managerial because he never learns to contain pressure. Look, I semi agree with that, and I don't. Look, a point is a point, mate. You know, look, a point is a point, but we will get on to the team as well. United are back. I love it. United will bottle it now, says Paul. Wasn't it a mentor session with Ollie that helped Chesco with his positioning and finishing? The lads' confidence is sky high. So Jerry says this is the kind of game that United would have lost under Aaron. So take the point, remain unbeaten, and move to the next game and keep faith. Jerry, exactly. You know, look, people tonight should be talking about how shit the players were tonight. 100%. But I will also say that we've got 4 wins and a draw. You know, I still think it's great. Aki says hi, hello. Barry says, what do you mean winner? I don't know. It's all very tight from 4th down. This new YouTube a joke. Yeah, mate, it's nothing to do with me, buddy. Nothing. United back to shit? No, they're United are not back to shit. Look, this is people are disrespecting West Ham tonight. I think part of it is as well tonight. People are disrespecting West Ham. West Ham, look, the start of the season, West Ham was shit. That's a fact. West Ham was shit. United weren't particularly great. But guess what? Just as our fortunes can turn around, so can West Ham. West Ham have won 4 of their last 6 and drew to Chelsea. They were winning 2-0. Sorry, they were winning 2-0 and lost to Chelsea 3-2. This is a good West Ham side. Look, just like the problem with some of this fan base is that they're very blinkered. You can't see, or some people don't see outside of our own box, right? West Ham right now are a form good team. Look, as much as I'm pissed off, and I think, and look, I can't stand these players. There are certain players in this team that I can't stand. I've been saying it for such a long time now. Just because we won the 4 games, people have said I'm moaning, I'm this and that. I will remain consistent in the things that I say. I can't stand these players. I know what these players are. These are light switch players, but guess what? These are the players that we've got to work with, right? Tonight was one of those games where the players went back to what they've been, but also as well to kind of give some context behind it. West Ham are a good side. They're on form. So look, this is not all on these players tonight. West Ham, look, these players were shit tonight. But West Ham are a good team, and you've got to give West Ham some respect. It wasn't like West Ham were crap, and it wasn't as if we were bad and we made West Ham look good. No, West Ham were good tonight. West Ham in patches made us look bad. You've got a chance to finish second. You've got a chance to finish second above Arsenal. I love that. Where is the haircut, says Neil. All points will matter. It's going to be a close call for European places. Ryan, I agree with you. The point is crucial, so it means that the 3 points would have saved us from the heat that is boiling up from 5th position. I agree with you. Agree. Joey Hackney says, hi. Hello, buddy. United Strand prayed for the draw so he can keep his gimmick. I couldn't agree with you more, my friend. I bet that guy was celebrating. I bet he was absolutely celebrating. I mean, look, when is this going to get fucking boring? When are people going to get bored of this narcissistic little prick? Look, when are people going to get bored of this guy? I really couldn't give a fuck about his haircut. I just think somebody should just go and shave his hair off. Or look, go and put some chewing gum in his hair. You know. Chesco should have come on earlier. I do agree. I think Chesco is worthy of being a starter next week. Yes, I agree with you. On a mildly amusing note, American Super Bowl viewers 130 million. City's standard league game 750 million. It is sort of funny. Musta says hi, hello buddy. I can't block JB from saying it though. Exactly. I take that back. This man is real United fan and actual realist, says Chris. Opal Joe, hi. Spotify, this guy didn't cut his hair. Is it only you that has those rights? I didn't think mods could do that to another mod. We are cursed. No, look, we are not cursed. I promise you, we are not cursed. Look, I think the problem that one of the issues, and this is not a problem, right? Fans are allowed to get carried away. That's a fact, right? Fans shouldn't need to worry about the boardroom. Fans shouldn't need to worry about all that sort of stuff. The fans' job is to support this club, support the signings, get happy when we win games. But the problem is that right now is that media, and I'll tell you this, two things. I remain consistent, and the reason why I do is which probably costs me clicks, and the reason why I say that is because if I put out a show and I say to you guys, we're back, even if I don't believe that, and I say we're back, and then this show tonight, I say to you, we're not back. Bruno Fernandes is dog shit. After saying that he's great, what then happens? I get people who will watch the show to tell me that I'm a prick. I'll get people who will watch the show who will agree to, and I'm trying to play, like, I'm trying to play tunes. So I'm trying to get the fans who are pissed off to come on to the show to tell me that I'm a twat. I get, people then that will go, oh yeah, you're right. This is why I remain consistent. And the whole point of this is that the reason why you think that we're cursed is because you're getting wound up by the media. You get wound up by other channels telling you that we're going to win this league. It's going to be easy. Top four is on, by the way. But we could be winning a league. So then the come down from that is massive. It's so big. When reality wise, this is why I keep saying on this channel, we absolutely should just take each game. I never thought, I predicted 8 or 10 this season. Boy, I was wrong. Like, I'm not going to go back on it now because I don't want to even envisage finishing 8th or 10th from this position now. But we are not cursed. What we're seeing an inconsistent league, and we're seeing an inconsistent team. The fact remains, we still need players, we still need midfield players, we're still inconsistent, and that is what we're going to be until we get some players in, and until we get a coach, until we know what we are. We're going to see this inconsistent team, and that is what we are. JB, if you look back at the mid-80s, this was United season in and out. There was no quick fix. If we get a solid plan, we are 2 years off a title tilt at best. In the 4-4-2 formation in front of Mbeumo and Chesco, still applicable to modern football. I think what wins games to me, in my view, is the midfield battle. I think if you win the midfield, I think you win the game. Look, you've got to keep clean sheets and you've got to score. But how can the other team defend or the other team score if you've got the ball? So I think what I think tonight, I think what we lacked tonight, Casemiro tonight was shit. Bruno Fernandes was shit. Kobe Mainu wasn't great either. If we'd have won the midfield tonight, I think we would have won the game. Look, we had nobody in that midfield and a decent captain as well. If we could have just done what we did towards the back end of that match and we applied that throughout the whole game, I think we could have won that game. It would have been close. West Ham, if West Ham had have had a striker that could finish, we would have been done for. In fact, I think if West Ham had have had Paquetá, I think if Paquetá had still been at West Ham, I think we lose that game. What a flamboyant guys. I really want a complete change of the whole squad. So do I. We need a revolution. It's ridiculous. He has given our back four solidity. Yes and no. I'll send you a screenshot on email so you can see what's happening. YouTube is messed up them. How did United play? We were awful tonight. Look, we were awful tonight. There is no point in trying to spin it. West Ham were brilliant, by the way. West Ham were really, really good. I'm not taking anything away from the Hammers tonight. If you're a Hammers fan, I would be gutted. If I was a West Ham fan tonight, I would be gutted. I thought you deserved the win. I thought West Ham were really, really good tonight. I thought we were awful. The only reason we got a draw was because of Chesco. Xabi Alonso, yeah, Xabi's not gonna come. I can't look what it says, buddy. I will look after the show, mate. Let me look, Scotty. Let me look. What's it saying? What's it saying, bud? What's it saying? Let me look, buddy. It's saying that that is YouTube, mate. That is nothing to do with me, buddy. That is YouTube, mate. There's nothing that I can do. There's nothing that I can do. That is not me. That is them, mate. Chris says, United fans, it could be worse. You'll finish top four, and I'm a Liverpool fan. We will finish 11th. It's just bloody football at the end of the day. Best. And Chris, look, mate, look, it is, people tonight are acting like it is the end of the world. Not on here, by the way, but I've seen people who are acting like, and I guarantee you tonight, what you're gonna have is you're gonna have people tonight screaming and shouting again. I'll give you one guess. I'm not going to name names, but you can guess. They'll be shouting, giving themselves a heart attack. M8 says, you from Manchester? Nope. No Bruno Fernandes slander, please. Look, Bruno Fernandes, it's not slander. That. It is not slander. Bruno Fernandes, it is not slander. Look, I respect the view, but to say any negativity against Bruno Fernandes is slander, I think is a bit ridiculous. As I've said tonight, I still respect Bruno. Can't be perfect every game. He's terrible. What a waffler. When you need to fill the essay word count. Oh, we've got a wanker in. CJRC. Well, we've got a wanker in. If you don't like it, fuck off. It is like I've got zero time. If you don't like me, it's free. Why the hell hang around unless you're so in love with yourself and you think your opinion fucking matters that much that you want to comment on me? Fuck off, mate. No, you're wrong, bro. He's our captain. Amrin would have lost that game. He's look. I disagree. He's not a captain. The very lucky game tonight. I do agree. Is this word blocking thing permanent? I have no idea. United was my first love, and it will be my last. The United of the future, the United of the past. To live without United is impossible to do. In this world of trouble, United brings you through. Bruno's crap says Scott can't even type normal words. I don't know. YouTube appears to have implemented some sort of filter in chats. Let me take a look. I don't know. I don't know. I've just checked and there's nothing. I don't know. I think this could be some sort of test. I don't know. Mate Lissandro, Captain says Sky. I do agree. Tunes for the club we love. Can't even write full. I had to caps lock it to get. I don't know. I love it. I will never forget 99 final. Norwind, neither will I. Get rid of Dallo fast. Dude can't cross, can't defend, nothing. Luke Shaw always back. Passing when we need to move forward. Dino's in the house. Hello, Dino. The whole offside VAR thing has been well dodgy for a while now. Sally says, why does it take a good manager not to see it and an average fan like me to see it? Before the game we needed crosses from both wings and Chesco before the game. Sully, you're right. Les Espinosa says that Carrick out. On another point, YouTube is ruining our evening. JB, sorry mate, there's nothing that I can do, mate. There's nothing that I can do. Hello from Frankfurt to you. Hello, buddy. I hope you're doing extremely well. 13 points out of 15 possible. I did say that will be respectable and fair play. We were god awful today, but the haul is pretty decent. Exactly who are these players you don't like? I don't. Luke Shaw, Dallo. Look. Let me interchange. Let me intermix these players I don't like with these players that I think need to go. Dallo, Luke Shaw, I think Maguire needs to go. Bruno Fernandes needs to go. Casemiro, Ugarte, Xerxes. I keep getting that have to speak proper now. The banhammer, exactly. Boris Isaac says, hee. We did say these performances will still happen. Was poor, but we got away with one tonight. West Ham were decent. Exactly. Is it like this on every stream? I've tried to ask a question 10 different times. Have I missed something? Is it like it on every live stream? Yes. That's ruined my plans for AFTV. He just an attention seeker. Might only be football streams as football fans get pretty toxic. A point is enough, but today we look so tired and legged. I don't know why Dalot played to the end. I know. No, it's happening everywhere. No, it's every stream. YouTube has a problem. It's frustrating. Yet, I really think you guys cursed us. Players have way too much pressure now to win 5 games with YouTube United. What gets me is that we have Malacia, Majraoui on the bench. I'd play them over Dallo and Shaw. Good evening, JB. Simon Legend. We were a bit lethargic tonight, just 3 days after our last match. Exactly. We are not cursed. Even Chelsea drew 2-2. So was the other teams in mid games. Always scrapped. We move on and still have to believe. Boris, look, I agree with you, mate. I do agree with you. I do agree. I do agree. When Chelsea took the lead in their game, I thought we were going to be back into 5th, but Leeds came back and now we preserved our 4th place. Liam says, Dallo in. Liam says, Dallo was abysmal tonight. If we get a bid from Madrid in the summer, we should cash in. I do agree with you. West Ham could have won this. But our unbeaten run is continues. 5 wins was going to be a big ask. Last time we won 5 on the bounce was February 2024. On the midfield issue, forgot Tonali. There were better, cheaper options at Leverkusen and Milan. Hammers have a reason to play. Exactly. Well done, West Ham. Hopefully we can beat Sunderland tomorrow night. Look, West Ham were fantastic tonight. West Ham were brilliant tonight. West Ham were really, really, really good tonight. JB, what do you think of Larmans? I really, really like Larmans. I do. I think he's composed. He's not perfect. I think he's composed. I think he's a good player. I do. I think he's a good player. West Ham also going for 4 wins exactly. Get Urban Financia says. So Dallo has to go, please. I literally can't type on a question. Have to admit, you guys are doing well this season. Says we are, Joe James. Look, we are. We're doing okay. We are. I'm banned again. How do you know you're banned? Can you swear now? The bloke will get more clout every time. If he really is a fan, he should stop making videos. The bloke will get more clout every time. If he really is a fan, he should stop making videos. I don't get it. I hear United are looking at Mönchengladbach midfielder called Rietz S, priced 35 million. The bloke lives in Spain. Don't know what he's bothered about. The Spuds got blasted again. We are now 16 points above them. Come on, you Irons. Come on, LFC tomorrow. Says Joe James. I honestly thought that we would get the 5th. And look, Slayer, mate, there is nothing wrong in that, mate. Nothing wrong in that at all, buddy. The player can't leave us 13 days without a game. The player can't leave us 13 days without a game, without performance. That was really bad first half of football. It was exciting as watching Attenborough program. JB, you're on your naughty step till YouTube fixes. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything, mate. Gotta love the Google policies. Speaking of Maguire, is he injured? I don't know, Simon. He looks like he might be a little bit injured. Chesco broke my heart, says Pete Master. Sorry, buddy. Do you think this is a slip, West Ham defence? Well, no, look, do I think it is a slip? No. This league is ridiculously competitive. I don't know why this fan base thinks we win 4 games, we're back, we're going to win a league. Is it a blip? No. This league is ridiculously competitive. What we're coming up with now, we're coming up with teams with things to fight for. Whoever we play now has probably got something to fight for. And also, we're coming into the part of the season where players come into form. This is the business end now. This is the business end. So what we're going to find is we're going to come up against teams who have got things to play for. And this is the business end. You could have got the Spuds right in the relegation dogfight. Exactly. Somerville missed 1 or 2 chances. I really, really like him. Jack Britta says the poor haircut guy. Nah. Shame Casemiro's goal was offside. United Strand can't cut his hair. Good. Similar to Harry Kane's break if he stays. Donna says, as a Liverpool fan, I have to be honest, that might end up being a good point for you, as I have zero confidence for Sunderland tomorrow, living on hope rather than expectations. And Dorknight, mate, I feel you. I think United are in a very, very similar position, mate. JB being banished. Is the result the bounce to reality that we need? I think it is. According to the BBC website, Maguire looks increasingly likely to sign. Look, I'm not opposed to it at all. So let's go through the game quick. Look, I think we've gone through the game, but look, let me go through the game quickly. Look, really simply. I thought from front to back, I thought everybody tonight was not great. You can always tell from the start of the game, and exactly, Scott, it is spin, because they know this fan base is going to kick off tonight, and that is the danger. It's a fair point. If the likes of Madrid or Bayern had to play week in, week out the Premier League, they would have far more bad days at the office. We get a bit overheated when we hit and run. Chesco should start ahead of Cunha. Friends, YouTube friends. But look, you're right. This league is ridiculously inconsistent. It is. So look, the game today. Look, West Ham, I thought, played extremely well, set up extremely well. Like, they were set up. We couldn't break through the lines today, as we spoke about yesterday or the day before, was that West Ham were always going to be difficult to break down, organised. And Carrick got schooled today. Just like Amorim this year, Carrick got schooled today by a coach who is wily, by a coach who has got this West Ham team playing extremely well. He got schooled today. He picked the completely wrong side, I think. And again, Carrick, I don't think Carrick has got tactics. This is why I think we need to wait until the end of the season. Look, if we go through the team, I agree with a lot of you guys. I think that we look leggy today. It's our second game in 3 or 4 days. It showed today. It really did. I thought that Maguire looked okay, but again, when he stretched out and he did his hamstring, I was concerned. The Butcher, I actually thought the Butcher did quite well. I do, again, whenever the team isn't on it, I think he always provides something. Adalo today was worse than useless. I don't know why he still plays. I think a Mazraoui who is half fit, I think, would be better there. I'd rather put Ahmad there, and I know he's not a right back. I would rather put him there. He's awful. He is. He's awful. Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw. He's played all season. I think he's been awful all season. I know people like Luke Shaw. I know people think that Luke Shaw is a world-class player. I will be consistent. I am consistent. I am not fooled by these players. Luke Shaw, for me, needs to go. Luke Shaw sacked coaches-wise. I think it's 7. Luke Shaw needs to go. Giving Luke Shaw a new contract will tell you everything you need to know about this club. Luke Shaw today was awful. He's been up and down all season. So, I thought Casemiro today again. Original says, shit today, both fullbacks terrible. Level is back to usual. Exactly. I thought Casemiro today. Look, Casemiro. I mean, sometimes really with Casemiro, who would buy Luke Shaw? I actually think someone like a Burnley would buy him. I think a newly promoted team would buy a Luke Shaw. I do. We lack any kind of depth to call on. You can't just keep out in the same team out and not expect some kind of burnout. It is beginning to tell. And that is, again, I think you summed it up perfectly, mate. I think you summed it up. We have got a threadbare squad, a threadbare squad. You know, we play one game a week, really, and this shows that this team cannot play more than once a week. We can't do it. Casemiro today wasn't great. You know, other than the header, you know, I thought our midfield was overran, especially in the second half. I do think that we cancelled each other out. Bruno Fernandes, zero space, ineffective. When you mark him out of the game, it looked like today Bruno Fernandes just wasn't at it today. Just looked like he just couldn't be fucking bothered today. And this is what I mean. What infuriates me about him was today is that he is not a captain. He is not a captain, and today was that Bruno that we've seen for the first half of the season. And this is not me getting carried away. I think the opposite of people who have gone Bruno Fernandes should be Ballon d'Or winner. I think that for me is over the top. Bruno Fernandes this season hasn't been great. And we saw him today. We saw Bruno Fernandes, unless he's got time and space on that ball, he just can't be bothered. Cunha today ineffective. They couldn't break through the lines. In Bumo, Ahmad, I think this game was prime for a Chesco today. Bring on a lad, 6'4", Xerxes. I think Xerxes would have worked better in one of those 10s today. Two big lads, get those balls into the box, take out Cunha. In Bumo, one side, Ahmad on the sort of other, and just get those balls into the box. But that just wasn't like an option today. So I thought West Ham, I thought we cancelled each other out. First half was equal. First half was boring. Absolute awful. I didn't see any passion tonight. I didn't see any tactics. You know, I didn't see any ability to be able to adapt to West Ham. I didn't see any ability to pass through the lines. I didn't see any ability for Michael Carrick to adjust the team. I think a manager, a good experienced coach, would be able to adjust that team. I think it was quite obvious. David says, hope you're doing extremely well. I do. The chat is happy because they can use profanities again. So, you know, look, I'm glad you guys are happy. So look, it was turgid. Nikarutsu. It was turgid. It was boring. Light switch FC. You know, when Bruno's level drops, which it did tonight, the whole team drops. And that is what we got tonight. We are Bruno Fernandes FC. We are, and I think a chunk of this fan base tonight is Bruno Fernandes FC. I think a lot of this club is Bruno Fernandes FC, and when his performance drops, that's it. So Glenn says you should go instead of Shaw. He's been one of United's best players along with Maguire. People like you expect miracles. The last 4 games have been excellent. To drop a point tonight and talk shite. Glyn, mate, I will let the chat handle you, Glyn. Mate, people are entitled to their opinion, right? The one thing about this channel that I don't do, whether you are Glazers in, you love the Glazers, you want to wank off a Glazer, you want to, you love Wilcox, you've got a poster of them up on your wall, Sir Jim is your granddad, you love them all, and you pass that opinion, I've got no problem with that. I will read out that opinion. If you are the opposite of that and you want to burn the club to the ground because of the Glazers are awful and you can't stand them, that's an opinion as well. The only thing I will not have is, look, why attack me for having an opinion that you don't like? We don't have to agree. I think Luke Shaw is a bag of dog shit that needs to be set on fire, put outside somebody's doorstep and let somebody stamp on the fire. That's what I think he is. I'm sure Luke Shaw is a lovely guy. I'm not talking about Luke Shaw as a human being. I'm sure Luke Shaw is a wonderful person, but his time is done. And if people want to think that Luke Shaw is an amazing world-class player and that Maguire is, that is up to you. But don't attack my opinion because it's my opinion. You don't have to agree with me. I don't think you're right. You don't think that I'm right. But that's the beauty of life and the beauty of this channel, is you can have your view. Feel bad for that fella. I don't. Yeah, Glyn is Glyn. We may have dropped points, but we're still fourth. Exactly. Turgid is an excellent word and perfectly describes the United were as a whole. Chesco was the shining light. Exactly. Dave said Chelsea were embarrassingly bad. Wank off a Glazer. Exactly. Why so delusional? If you understand football, you would know that today West Ham will be playing one of their best games of the season. It's against United. They need points. Quote, if you fucking listen to what I've said instead of coming in at the end of the fucking show, I've already said West Ham played extremely well tonight, and I've said that it wasn't a case of United, it wasn't a case of United were bad and so were West Ham. West Ham made this look bad because West Ham played well, and West Ham are fighting, are basically trying to avoid the drop. Quote. So if you'd have come into the show earlier on, instead of picking apart and picking the bit with no context, you would have heard what I've said. I've given West Ham plenty of praise tonight. And I've already said West Ham, I think, deserved the win tonight. West Ham played extremely well. We were bad. West Ham were good. Simple as that. Why we lost the match? We didn't lose, mate. We didn't lose. Team, we didn't lose, buddy. 3 to end the, mate. I don't even know. I don't even know, buddy. I don't even know. That's I what an image, a naked man. Chesco is finding his feet, but really needs the service of him. Boom Cunha. Scott loves that word. He does. Shaw is past his sell-by date. I do agree with you. David JB getting rage baited before GTA 6. I will never play that game. We I didn't play the game like last weekend. No, we didn't. All right, okay, fine. Maybe so. So look, I am going to go on to the scores. And look, you give me your scores. I'm going to mark them out of 10. 6 being an average score. I think this is going to be an interesting one today. Larmins today. Look, Larmins, I don't think really did anything wrong. We played West Ham. That Somerville, he looks like a good player. So look, Lyman's today for me. Lyman's today for me get a 6. He didn't really have a lot to do. What could he do? He didn't really do much. You know, you can't really score him, right? Because he didn't really do a lot. I thought he made a good save. I did think he made a good save. So look, a 6 for me. A Dallo today for me gets a 4. I thought that he was awful today. You could probably argue a 5, maybe a 4 is too low, maybe a 4.5, 5. I don't, I think he's so inconsistent. He's the best we've got. He's not a scapegoat in this team, by the way. I think he's played okay. For me, I just thought that he wasn't great, Kurt. I just thought today he was just typical performance. So look, maybe a 4 is too low, maybe a 4.5, maybe 5. Luke Shaw today. Look, I know Luke Shaw has been okay this season. I thought Luke Shaw was responsible, or one of the contingent parts to the goal. I thought I'd probably give Luke Shaw a 4, 4.5. 6s with a notable exception in Bumo 8, Chesco 8, Luke Shaw 4, Bruno Fernandes 4. So Luke Shaw for me today, he gets a 4. Maguire, do you know what? Maguire did okay today. The Butcher did okay today. Look, I thought it was a today for me, Nikarutsu, Luke Shaw for me today gets a 4. But look, I get it. You can give him a 6. I think Maguire for me today, the Butcher as well. Look, you could give him a 6. What can they do? What can they do when you've got fullbacks who leave spaces behind you? There was a tackle that Maguire made in the second half. A great tackle. I think he played on with an injury as well. Look, Maguire, again, he wins headers. And I like the redemption arc of him as well. So I do think the Butcher and I do think Maguire both get a 6. Casemiro for me today, a 5. A 5.5, you could argue. Possibly, I just don't remember him doing a lot in the game today. I thought Casemiro today was a passenger for me today. So I agree with you. I dislike Shaw. I don't think he's a player. I prefer Dallo over Shaw. Luke Shaw says Simon is a 5. Bet you supported your local tram rather than jumping on the Northern bandwagon. Mate, I've been on this bandwagon, mate, for 38 years, buddy. JB got a lot. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not reading all that. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Casemiro for me today, 5.5. You could argue a 6. I just didn't see him today. Bruno Fernandes, the mercurial, the enigma, the maverick that is Ballon d'Or, Bruno Fernandes. Apparently, he should get player of the season. I have seen, and I'm not gonna should I name names? No. I've seen certain content people out there saying that he should get Ballon d'Or. He should be in with a shout for the player of the year. Bruno Fernandes, if there is no doubt that Bruno Fernandes in the last 4 games has been great. Assisting again, I think he's got the most assists this season. The previous 10 games, he hasn't been great, but he still gets assists. Today, no agenda at all. I thought he was awful today. I thought he was ineffective. He looked like he couldn't be bothered today. He looked like he wasn't up for it. And I have to judge him not only based on a player, but also based on a captain. And as a captain's performance today. It was not acceptable again. So I've got to give Bruno Fernandes today a 4. It is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to behave like that today. It is. You know, every player has a bad game. That's not what I'm talking about here. And I'll keep saying this until I'm blue in the fucking face. If you're a United captain, a Liverpool captain, those two in England, those two captains, for me, have to be more than the players around them. They have to transcend those players. Bruno Fernandes, when he's playing well, you can forgive that side. Because if he's giving you assists and goals, you can almost forget, or you can almost ignore it because he's doing that. I don't forget about it. I'll keep saying it. He is not a captain. But when you've not got any goals, assists in your locker in a game, the only thing you've then got, your purpose, is to be the captain. I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it at all. So for me today, he gets a 4 because as a captain's performance today, that was not good enough, Bruno. That was not good enough. And this is not the first time. This is consistent. You have a run of 4 games and people are talking about a Ballon d'Or for Bruno Fernandes. What the fuck are you talking about? A Ballon d'Or? He's not a player of the season. Yes, he gets assists. I get that, but it doesn't mask what he is. He's inconsistent. He is frustrating at times. He is world class. He does things that no one else can do. He's one of the best number 10s in the league. I will not argue that. But he's also capable of this dog shit. So for me today, a 4. Cunha today, I think Cunha today, you could probably argue a 6. Maybe you could go a 5.56. I think West Ham made him ineffective today. I thought West Ham made our front players ineffective today. I thought he's very, very frustrating, as with Ahmad as well. You could give Ahmad a 5.56. I thought Ahmad was very, very frustrating. But look, Ahmad is exciting. He always tries to put the ball into the box. Did he have an above average game today? I don't think so. In Bumo, for me, I would probably give him 7. I thought he was, again, what he does extremely well. There was a point in the game that really fucked me off. Was Bruno Fernandes was kept as the number 9, right? Just fucking standing there. Mbumo sprints all the way back, and he consistently sprints all the way back and sprints all of the way forward. There is no doubt in me the work ethic of that man. I think he's and Cunha the same as Ahmad as well, but he works his arse off. And whilst you've got players like your captain, and there was a moment in that game where West Ham in the first half had the ball, Bruno Fernandes will literally ran at the guy and basically might as well have just cupped his bollocks because he didn't do anything. He literally ran up to the guy, stick a fucking boot on him, do something. But in Boomer will tackle. He will run for you. So for me today, 7. I think you could probably argue a 7.5 maybe. Casemiro a 5.5, says Simon. Scott says he gets flustered reading the chat. Let's say, let's have a little look. JB doesn't want to. I'm not reading that out. The look of a disappointed father figure. Yeah. It's a bell end door for Bruno. He wasn't even that good, mate. Chesco for me today, man of the match. Guess an 8, a pure 8. Chesco today, that finish today is a world-class finish. He gets an 8 for me today. Bruno, Chesco for me today, man of the match. Easy peasy, really. Xerxes, when he came on as well, I'd give him a 6.5 as well, because I thought that Xerxes caused issues. Xerxes came on. I thought that was a perfect game for him today. And I think he caused issues. So 6.5 for him. Chesco an 8. Man of the match for me. Easy piece of piss. Euro came on. I mean, Euro, I think, got skinned at one point as well. But a 6 for me. Demonetized soon. It wouldn't surprise me. I watched. No, he does. He does. He absolutely does. He plays lethargic because he thinks or knows he won't get dropped. Exactly. I'm just leaving you guys crack through that. Friggin' heck. I don't even know what goes on in this chat sometimes. I'll leave you guys crack on with that. I observe we struggle every time we play against a team with a low block, says Ben. We are at our best when teams come at us. Exactly, mate. We are counter-attack FC, buddy. We are. When is De Ligt coming back? I think De Ligt will be back in about 2 weeks. What was being deleted? The Irons, yeah. These 2 tackles from Euro were clutch, man. No, and I was just about to say that as well. I thought he JB reactions to the chat is hilarious. I can't even do it. JB can't cope with it. Scott, can't calm down. What do I score? Mason Mount should be back for the Everton game. Good news or bad news, Simon? I don't think it matters. Mason Mount, I don't even really class him as a player. So look, Mason Mount being back is good. My concern is I wonder how long Mason Mount will be back in the team for. So what do I score Carrick today? I think Carrick was a very naive guy today. I thought fucking hell. I thought can't do it. I thought that Carrick today was schooled. I thought Carrick today was very, very naive. I'm still yet to see tactics from Carrick. I'm still yet to see him do something different. Whether or not that's because of the squad, I'm going to give Carrick the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to say that I think today was mostly the players rather than him. Carrick today. What would I give Carrick today? I'd give. Look, what would I give Carrick today? I'd have to give Carrick a 5.5, and the reason why I do that is because, look, I think today, I think he was exposed. If I was to give Carrick a 6 today, a 6 represents to me that I think Carrick had an average managerial performance today. This game today had nothing to do with him. Yes, he brought on a Chesco, a Xerxes, but the goal wasn't because he masterminded the tactics. Wasn't because he outschooled the coach. Carrick today was schooled, and look, you get that. I am not surprised. I think if Carrick had been an Amarin today, I would have probably scored him a 3.5, 4 today. But I think Carrick needs support. I think Carrick needs the benefit of the doubt. But I still think he made a mistake, and that's on him. And look, people. The reason why I now need to start. The reason why I need to start scoring him correctly is because people want him to be the full-time coach. People want to give him a contract, right? So people are saying because of the 4 games, he needs to sign a contract and he should be the coach. If, in my view, I'd give him a 6 every single game. But if people are now talking about giving him a contract, I feel I've got no other way than to score him in a more apathetic way rather than an Amarin way. So if this was an Amarin game today, I would have scored him a 3 or a 4. But Carrick, I think Carrick still got to work with these players who are light switch players, who are not the best players. Turn it. So I think he's still got a lot to contend with. So look, for me today, I'd give him a 5.5. I would take off half a point because I think he got it wrong today, and I think he got schooled. And hopefully, he will learn from this. So look, guys, 1-1. I thought we got away with a point. For those people who are now saying Carrick out, or this is a good tonight. This is a good point tonight against a wily coach, against a good West Ham tonight. We were away. West Ham need to take credit for that tonight. I thought West Ham were brilliant tonight. Really, really well put together. They were fluid. They were organised. Really, really good performance. And I think what we saw tonight was a mixture of an inexperienced coach, light switch players, tired players as well. And look, we come away with a draw. So I think it's a fantastic point today. I think the fact that we've won 4 and drawn 1, I didn't think that would have happened. If you would have asked me that after the Brighton game, I would have snapped your hand off. We're in a top 3 race. We're still in a top 3 race. We are still in a top 4 race. We are still there. So look, it is a blip, a setback, but look, we go again. We've got to. Let me just go through the rest of the chats. I am not reading these chats tonight. Absolutely ridiculous. The difference between just a coach and being a top flight coach is making the right calls early. He was exposed and made a desperate lunge. Thankfully, Chesco did the business. Exactly. Joby, fantastic stream tonight. Thank fuck we can swear again. Yes. 5 wins was really a big ask. We were pushing it too much. We just looked like we had a bad night at a pub. Exactly. You never walk alone. We did. United learned to hold that damn line better. 6 offside goals in the 3 games. Being a top laugh, top mods on the next one. So look, guys, fantastic show. We needed that tonight. What a really frustrating, shitty game. Absolute shit tonight. But look, it is not doom and gloom. We're still in for a shout for the top 3. We're not gonna run. My message above says Ray. What did Ray say? I don't know what Ray said. What did you say, Ray? I think I've missed it, buddy. Let me know what you said. Liverpool will get back the crown. I don't think you will, my friend. I don't think you will. So look, guys, absolute legends. We got a point. We didn't deserve the point. We got a point. We do as we needed to. So look, guys, you're absolute legends. Thank you for being here. I love the show tonight. Fantastic show tonight. And I will be back tomorrow. I won't be back tomorrow night because I'm playing football again tomorrow night. I'm dusting off the shoes again. I played so well the last time that they've invited me back. Yeah, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to play football tomorrow night. So I won't be back tomorrow night. I'll be back tomorrow in the day, and yeah, the only good moment from the game was Chesco's goal, and Carrick tonight proved it exactly. Credit to Euro tonight. Look, it is not the end of the world. And yeah, so look, guys, I will be back. Do you know what? Fuck it. I might be back tomorrow night. I might be back tomorrow night. Let's just see. Have a good rest of your morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world. You are legends. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.